This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
We call Mwalimu.
Oh, Mwalimu, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Welcome to the hot seat. It's been a while. We've, of course, seen the happenings that have been happening round and about. So we're going to talk about them today in terms of what then it means is securing our future. But before we do that, Dennis is going to share a proverb. He'll tell you where it's from, and we would like to hear how you would interpret that.
Okay, so Mwalimu, today we are in a West African country. This country is very, very diverse when you talk about culture. I don't know whether you visited that because I know you're very well traveled. Diverse landscapes, historical significance. It's actually nicknamed the Gateway of Africa. And I'm talking about the Republic of Senegal. You've been there before?
I have been to Senegal.
Oh, you've been there?
Yeah.
What did you love the most?
The coastal region and the last point where the slaves were leaving to the Americas. That was a serious scenery.
You know, Mwalimu has to go into memory lane, go to history.
Yeah.
So you visit a country, you want to understand the history.
Yes.
Love that. So today's proverb is coming from Senegal. And the proverb is, if someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. If someone doesn't tell you, you must find out yourself. How would you interpret that proverb?
I think this proverb is linking the experiences people have, that if you stay in comfort because you are not criticized, then you don't even learn about anything. So you must find out why people do not want to even tell you good morning, why you are not called Mwalimu, why you are not called Dokare, and so on. The journalist or the presenter. So it is very, very important to be aware of what is around you, what people say about you, or what people expect you to do. So sometimes when, like now, if people do not tell me that I have put on a Modi attire, then I know they don't appreciate it also. Or they hate it, but they don't want to tell me that they don't like it. So that is the thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Self-awareness and curiosity.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Thank you.
What a way to look into it. So, coming in, of course, from the latest information, TSC KUPPET seal the CBA deal as a lower job group teachers score big in pay boost. Just looking into the details of what has happened, and then you'll take us to the point where, before this, getting us here and what it actually means. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers has signed a new collective bargaining agreement with the Teacher Service Commission, bringing to an end intense negotiations that have centered around salary disparities and long-standing grievances by teachers in lower job groups. So negotiations between the TSC and the Kenya Teachers, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, are still ongoing, with expectations that a final deal will soon be reached. Now, this signing ceremony took place Tuesday at the Kenya Institute of Special Education and was witnessed by the TSC acting CEO, Evelyn Mitei. So you said that, and you described this just concluded process as intense and full of complexities. You said, and I quote you, "This process, which has just been completed, was so intense, with many intricacies involving engagement and compromise. The offer from TSC did not exactly go as we expected." But you're seeing that at least the award was favored to a large extent the ordinary teacher, the ones who carry the burden of daily work in schools. In the 2026-2021 CBA, schools heads benefited most. This time, it's about fairness. These were words that you spoke just a few days ago. And we're looking at quite a lot in terms of now what will be done for the teacher. Is this acceptable? Is this deal finally what teachers have been looking for and the unions have been searching for?
Actually, when unions engage the employer in negotiations of salary or awards for this matter, the issue is basically to get maximum. But our work as union is based on the principle of hunting. You go hunting and you don't just despise whatever you have gotten. So as much as we appreciated the offer which was given to us and the amount which was awarded, it did not even meet a third of our expectations. Because among the issues that we had put on the line was to address the issue of housing of teachers and the commute allowance and other allowances related to scholarship, because we are now working in an environment, and the Teacher Service Commission, for the years that we have, it has been in existence, has never put in place even money for scholarship. So we had expected that the Teacher Service Commission would recognize those people who have paid for their own upgrading, to have gotten degrees, they have gotten masters, they have gotten PhD and so on. Because currently, universities do not employ directly those people who have masters or PhD. But we have got quite a number of teachers, including even in primary schools, who now possess PhD qualifications. So we expected the Teacher Service Commission to give at least 40% of the basic pay across board of all grades, so for those people who have acquired better grades and so on. That one was one. Secondly, we also were looking at the commute allowance, for example, which allowance was put in place from 2014. And it has been stagnating there. But in 2014, for example, the price of petrol per liter was basically 78. Currently, it is 188 plus. It oscillates between 177 to 190 something. In fact, there's a time it was even 200. So teachers bear the brunt. And in fact, when you look at the cities which cannot accommodate teachers in schools, for example, Nairobi city, teachers cannot stay in the neighborhoods like the ones we have in Upper Hill. Like Kenya, if you are a teacher at Kenya High, you are compelled, if you don't get accommodation in the school, to go and look for accommodation where you can use 14,000 shillings or 15,000 shillings to pay rent. And remember, that is a very humble house for a teacher. A teacher requires to live in some element of comfort where she or he can plan well to go and attend to learners. So to reduce that kind of stress, the Teacher Service Commission did not address it. That's why I indicated in my comment about it that it was full of intrigues and so on. And one of the things which was also an anomaly, countdown towards this process, was the fact that there was no budgetary allocation which was in the current budget being discussed. There is now budget allocation for the award, and therefore that is the reason for which we are to pick whatever we got, because we also saw, we have been interrogating this budget, and we realized that unless something mysterious happened, which in this case they said they are going to subject it to supplementary budget. So that's when teachers can be given even the offer which we had. But one thing which is very, very encouraging is the fact that from the 2016-2021 CBA, the Teacher Service Commission gave an offer which we thought was very attractive, because it identified that the managers of schools were not properly paid. For example, a teacher is running a school and collects about 7 million, but this teacher does not earn something. So there was...
What do you mean does not earn something?
That doesn't have something commensurate
Okay.
with the kind of task, the people, the person supervises, the amount that he or she handles in the school. Then there was also the tendency to scavenge on the same resources which are supposed to do other work. So the Teacher Service Commission really recognized this, and they were given substantive appointment, which therefore made them to have some element of motivation to work, because there was no threat that they would be deployed as ordinary teachers anymore. If you were found not to be culpable, now you could just go. but otherwise it will only give progression that you can only from grade D1 to D3, D4, D5. So that one was very encouraging. But the ordinary teacher did not get much in that arrangement. So the salary differentials also was so huge. And that's why I commented about fairness. Because this time around, when you look at the lowest paid teacher, for example, in high school, teachers were starting at 35,900. Now, but the highest paid teacher was being paid 150,000.
And that is net or gross?
Yeah.
That is net or gross?
This one was the gross, for example, the gross. No, not gross, but this is the basic pay. The basic pay, that's what the baseline. The other allowances will make it more. But look at the basic pay. If a teacher, the lowest paid teacher in high school was earning 35,900, and the highest was paying 150,000. So the salary difference here was about 75%. So that one is not correct according to internationally recognized best practice.
Okay.
That they are supposed to, if they are working in the same environment, then the one which is allowed is supposed to be a difference of 25%. But in our case, it has been such big. So that's why we said I said in my comment that it was bringing about equity and fairness in the distribution.
And is this pay affected by the area of posting?
No,
it doesn't.
It doesn't. Basic pay is uniform across board. So what differs is basically those who teach in ASAL areas, which are classified as hardship, are being given 30% of the basic pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the top-up allowance
that
they get.
Allowance, yeah.
As like hardship allowance?
Hardship allowance.
Okay.
Yes.
Just like in any deal, I'm just curious to find out, this deal, there are compromises whenever deals are made. In this case, were there any compromises made by KUPPET or TSC during the negotiations that might then have long-term consequences? Let's say a year, 2 years from now, again, we are back to the drawing board.
One thing which has been the practice is that once we don't get whatever we expected, then the struggle continues. So you expect that it is not going to be rosy, sitting pretty, that things are okay. Because we still have the same challenges. Like, for example, counties currently are the same all over. And now, if I was talking about housing in Nairobi, I did not talk about housing in Kajiado, Machakos, and even Kiambu. In fact, in those neighboring counties around Nairobi, housing is even more complex because there are no even slums. For example, there are no slums in Kiambu, there are no slums in Kajiado. So the houses there for teachers are even very competitive. So you would expect those people to continue agitating to get better houses. To be motivated to work in this station. Yes.
So in one school, this amount that you talk about, 35,900, is the lowest cadre here. And is this money coming in from the new deal, or is this what was before?
No, the one I've used here was the previous one. The current one, if once the ones we signed for a period of 4 years, it will move to 35 to around 41,000. But 1,000, that is what will be the basic.
This is basic
entry point for somebody who is earning 35,900 now.
Yeah. Now, this deal marked 33.8 billion shillings. That's the new deal. And this is money that is going to be raised and applied over the next 4 years. This is not just one time and it goes to everybody, but over 4 years, this money will be realized. Where does the bulk of this money go under this new deal? I know you had mentioned that some of that, but according to stories that we are seeing, that it is welcomed because what it does is that it goes into the payment of teachers' salaries.
Now, this money basically goes to the basic pay. Basic pay for the teacher. It does not touch on allowances.
Yes. It goes to basic pay. Now, in the last increment for teachers, it was a non-monetary increment. There were issues around, let's ensure that things like paternity leave for teachers came into play, that there was an increase on maternity leave in terms of time, and that there would be payment for things like training, enhanced training. That was in the last CBA. And teachers said, okay, we've been patient, we've understood that we were just coming out of COVID, so the country was taking a bit of a shake at the time. So teachers understood, and we said, okay, we will not be disingenuous, we'll wait and see how things will happen. So now with this, there's a little bit more that has been applied. Now, this TSC does not work in isolation, doesn't work in a silo. It then works with the Ministry of Education, of course, in connection with Treasury. Do you think that you talk about that only 1/3 of the needs, and these are not even demands from what you say, that only 1/3 has been met by this new CBA? Because now we're talking 2025 to 2029, right? Or 2030? This CBA now that has been signed?
2025, 2029.
2029.
Yeah.
And only 1/3 has been met. Do you think that because look at that connection, TSC, unions, Ministry of Education, Treasury. Is there enough to meet the needs? Is it a resource issue or is it a reluctance issue?
It is basically a resource and the country not identifying with the teachers in these circumstances. Remember, just recently, the doctors, for example, only the interns were given whatever they wanted. Interns, not even professional doctors. Those who have just finished college, they were given whatever they are required, 201,000 shillings as their practice allowance. So these ones are there, but you are the ones who are preparing the same students to go and undertake medicine.
Yeah.
I see. So we are not living also in isolation. As much as TSC is part of what the Ministry of Education and even Ministry of Health and so on are undergoing, we as teachers also live in the same neighborhood with the doctors, with any other persons, and our children go to the same schools. In fact, we suffer more when it comes to even treatment. Our medical scheme is not a very robust one, and therefore we have to contend with raising money to assist besides the medical insurance that we have. So these are things which are there. What we expect is a rationale where there is a recognition of the work that the teachers do, and this work is the one which we want to be paid well. We also wish to have teachers motivated to undertake the very hard task of working for the nation, just like any other person. So those are the benchmarks. Okay. But as I said earlier, we cannot leave whatever we have been given, even if it is small. In fact, having a standoff in a pay dispute is not one of the best, because it leads to industrial action. To avert industrial action, we take, and then even as we have signed for 4 years, we will remind them next year that whatever you gave us cannot sustain us. Because they also say that for us to compromise, that sometimes they tell us that whatever you are demanding is not sustainable. But we are also going to tell them in the next round of discussions, not even negotiations now for pay, that we are not comfortable with whatever we are earning now. We need more.
Speaking of what a teacher earns now, I remember when I was still in school, and I have teachers who are my friends, and the conversations around career progression. So you'll find if you have this teacher who's now moving from 35,900 to 41,000, and they want career progression. They go for either doing further studies or doing other courses to just enrich themselves and grow. What is the conversation around the CPG? And in this next round of conversation, that's the first question. The next question is, in this next round of conversation, what are the items that have been carried forward?
Thanks. Especially on career progression discussion, what we carried forward was basically to have it reviewed by June 30th, 2026. From now to June 30th, 2026, because in our engagement and in our memorandum of demands, we had wanted it to be scrapped. But if it went that our way, it meant that we were going to revert. We did not have an alternative. We were going to revert to the old scheme of service, which classified teachers to enter as either non-graduate teachers, technical teachers, and graduate teachers. So that one was making that kind of classification. But the one we adopted in 2016 was career progression. It is the one which also gave room for principals of schools and heads of schools to be appointed substantively without being subjected to what we call deployment. So in the circumstance now of career progression, we are also demanding that certain things come with it. That when a teacher undertakes his personal development to take course in education or education-related courses, upon completion, this teacher should be given a reward, either being given 3 credit incrementals or being recognized and given special duty allowance.
Okay.
Because this person now has enhanced the capacity.
Okay.
That is the best practice which happens even in other departments. But the Teacher Service Commission, as I told you earlier, has been sitting in comfort that since its formation, it has never veiled scholarship for its employees. And yet, the backbone of the employees that the Teacher Service Commission employ is basically supposed to deliver knowledge.
To deliver knowledge.
And to sharpen the skills of the learners.
Okay.
So that one requires that their investment ought also to go there. In fact, the Ministry of Education has scholarships, but the Teacher Service Commission does not have. Yet this is the person who is supposed to employ
The teachers themselves.
and remunerate the teachers.
Let's take a break at this point and then we'll come back, because then we want to see then also the CBA, when does it kick in, or are folks expected that at the end of this July that there will be something different on their payslip? We'll come back and continue with that conversation in just a bit. The Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is Akelo Misori. He's here with us this morning. 33.8 billion shillings signed in a CBA. But what does it actually mean? We'll come back and discuss right after this. And when I remind you that the Aga Khan University Hospital is who they say they are, you can get treatment. It doesn't matter where you are along the Thika Superhighway. And you should not actually Google your symptoms. You can find a healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. The conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. From cardiologists to pediatricians, gynecologists to gastroenterologists, neurologists, and pulmonologists, other consultants near you. For families along Thika Road, we've got you covered at the Akai Medical Center, at the Roy Sambu Jewel Complex building, at the Roy Medical Center, and the Juja Medical Center, as well as the Thika Medical Center, with the Keno Medical Center also at Kilele Mall. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today, or call 0730-011-888. That's 0730-011-888. The Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care here and now.
It's your day.
Amazing to hear. How many teachers are there in Kenya today?
Currently, the number of teachers we have is about 410,000.
410,000 teachers.
Yes.
And we're looking at the increment across board for basic pay. Will it affect every one of these 410,000 teachers?
Yes, the award will affect all the 410,000 teachers. In fact, about 8.4 billion will be paid every financial year to make the whole payment be met by to reach 33,000 800.
Okay. There are always misconceptions, though, around teachers who teach in private institutions and teachers who teach in public institutions. Does this apply across board? And must you be a TSC teacher to then be considered in all of this? These are questions that are coming through.
The teachers currently who are engaged by Teacher Service Commission will be affected by this kind of pay. But the Teacher Service Commission or the government cannot insist that all the employers pay the kind of pay that Teacher Service Commission pay. This pay is dependent on the agreement with the contract they have with the workers.
Okay.
But currently, unless somebody is accredited from outside Kenya, you must be a registered teacher to practice in Kenya, whether you are in private or in public.
What's coming clear, Mwalimu, is that we don't have a full understanding of how teachers are engaged in Kenya. So maybe you can do that for us to be clear. There's a Teacher Service Commission, which is the HR function for teachers. But does it encompass all teachers in the country? If I am teaching at a school, we've heard that there's a TSC number that you have. We also hear that there are BOM teachers. How does this work exactly? It gives us a further understanding as to how awards such as this then are given.
Currently, the law gives Teacher Service Commission to register
TSC registered
teachers.
Yes.
So all teachers practicing in Kenya must be registered
Okay.
by the Teacher Service Commission. That is what I've said earlier, that unless you are accredited because you are teaching in an international school, and therefore the Kenya government recognizes that the kind of qualification you have from elsewhere mandates you to teach here, that one is fine.
Okay.
But all teachers teaching in Kenya must be registered by Teacher Service Commission.
And what happens
that
if they're
registration is one. The Teacher Service Commission must have it in its file, and then secondly, the Teacher Service Commission will pay those teachers in the teachings or with the public schools.
Okay. So if I am a TSC accredited teacher, and this school, School X down the road, I can be seconded to this school by the TSC. The TSC is the hiring entity?
If that school is a public school,
Yes.
then the Teacher Service Commission must be the one hiring you to teach in
And
any
sends me to
school.
go and teach French, for example, down
in-
the road.
in-
But
down
I
the
haven't.
road,
Okay.
in
And
that
I haven't
school.
here. All right.
But the Teacher Service Commission cannot insist that it cannot second you to a private school.
Okay. It must
Yes.
be a public school.
Yeah, it must be a public school.
All right.
What they insist they have is that the person who is engaged by the private entity is also registered by the Teacher Service Commission.
And yet, Mwalimu, we have schools in this country being taught, learners are being taught in schools with teachers who are not TSC accredited.
I think that is now outside the law, and therefore that is a criminal enterprise which should be investigated and action taken. Because according to the law, the schools in Kenya must have teachers who are registered by Teacher Service Commission.
There's a school in Western Kenya. It made it into the newspaper yesterday. This school, within the knowledge of the county director of education, just within Bungoma County, hires its Form 4 leavers, and I don't even know if it's hires because they volunteer. And for the last 3 years, they finish Form 4, and they are the ones who have been teaching in this school. The county director of education is very aware and says that since this school is just coming up, that there are teachers maybe from the nearby school who can hold them up. But the truth of the matter is that there are Form 4 leavers who are teaching history, they're teaching science, they're teaching math.
These are 25-year-olds.
25-year-olds.
Yeah.
And even younger. 25-year-olds and younger who are teaching in this school. It is known the county director of education, you've heard me now insist for the third time that she's aware in that area, that she's aware that this is going on, and has even given words about how they should carry on until they get round to it. So I've painted that picture, and here we are talking about an award for teachers who have to be TSC accredited in order to operate in Kenya. These are two existing scenarios in this same pot that we are discussing about this morning.
I think if there is any illegality, that one should be dealt with by the authorities concerned with dealing with this. But let me just say that we cannot say that a teacher who is 25 cannot teach. Because with me, I started teaching when I was 19.
But you just told us that they must be accredited.
No, I'm just talking about this.
Yeah.
That was the law then.
Sure.
Because teachers were being engaged as untrained teachers, even from my school. Like I started teaching even before I received my certificate, because that one was allowed that time.
Okay.
And later when I got my certificate, I was posted to school by Teacher Service Commission.
Okay.
And I taught for about 3 years before I went to college.
But Mwalimu,
So
these are not
that-
trained teachers.
But
These are 25-year-olds who just...
I was not trained there.
Okay.
And therefore we have had untrained teachers before. But currently, what obtains is that teachers teaching in our schools must be registered and by Teacher Service Commission. And that is what you said earlier, that they must have TSC numbers. Like you can talk about me, my TSC number is 208588. So that is, currently they have gone to 105,
Yes.
like that. It is very long now, because there are so many teachers. I told you we have got about 410,000 teachers in the Teacher Service Commission register, and I'm engaged by government to teach in public schools. So if there is a public school, in this country, we have had so many shortcuts based on, one, politics influences what takes place around. When a community starts a school, for example, a primary school has begun this year in 2025, and they have said their learners must go to their school. They can do all things. And therefore, if you are a county director of education, you may do very little. You only write a report that this school is there, but you cannot arrest the chairman, board of management of that school, because that is not within your mandate. So the law enforcement of this condition which is there to govern the schools lacks enforcement. We require that people understand, and politics is kept out of school, such that county director of Bungoma, for example, is given opportunity to run education in that region professionally. In the event that one does not happen, that one is now not the weakness of Teacher Service Commission, but it is the weakness of the entire system, which has allowed, because if you insist that school to not have those teachers, then they would say, where will we pay? Because Teacher Service Commission has also not sent enough teachers. Like, for example, we are talking about junior school in many instances. So you find a junior school where the teachers who have been posted to go and teach are 4, but all of them are teaching humanities and languages. There's nobody who can teach mathematics, can teach the sciences and so on, or even French, because a foreign language should also be part of it. So you'll find that the community or the board of management will accept to engage other people informally. This is outside the law. But you can see, if they are not got, or if you don't get the report, you will know that this school is having sufficient number of teachers. But you realize that nearly half of them do not even merit being there. I am aware of such kind of arrangement, because even while I was actively involved in the class, we used to have student teachers who have just completed school. There's one who came and joined us and is currently a medical doctor. He taught for a year with us. This one was basically an ex-Form 4 who was so good, but we lacked a number of teachers. But that time, the law about that you must...
The law allowed it.
The law allowed that you can engage untrained teacher.
Okay.
But currently, that engagement is. In fact, even if you are a graduate, for example, and you are not registered as a teacher, you are not trained as a teacher, you are not allowed to go to class. I hope you saw one time when one of the members of parliament was organizing teaching in online. And I think he's a member of parliament in this region. He was teaching online, and he was told that if he doesn't stop, he will be arrested because he was not a registered teacher to offer instruction to children in Kenya. So those are the things which happen. But the outside here, like for example, when you say that a policeman has misused a gun, that is also how things happen in certain neighborhoods.
Malemu, let's go back to the money conversation. So, are there plans then to harmonize allowances? Because earlier you talked about the hardship allowance. There's housing, which remains unchanged. And it's a major point of dissatisfaction among many teachers. And this ties into a question somebody has asked. There are integrated schools, but teachers there don't get any allowance. What do you have to say about that?
I think unless there's a specific school, I don't think that statement will be correct. Because teachers who are teaching in schools which have admitted special needs learners, those schools are, those teachers are paid. If they are trained special needs education teachers, they are paid accordingly by the Teacher Service Commission. And if they have not been failed, then they should give us that kind of evidence to agitate and maybe to insist that they get their correct pay. But for those who are teaching in schools and which are integrated and allowances are not paid, I think that one must be addressed. Yeah.
I just want to make a clarification here because there might be an understanding. So TSC has teachers. Are we saying that TSC will only second teachers to public schools? But that doesn't mean that teachers who are in private schools are not TSC accredited? Or are we saying that teachers who work in private schools don't have TSC numbers? What's the case here?
The law of the land says all teachers teaching in Kenya, whether public or private, must be registered teachers.
Okay.
Register. The authority which has been granted this portfolio is the Teacher Service Commission.
Yes.
So, Teacher Service Commission register them. That one does not mean they second them.
Okay.
Because if they are seconded, then it means that they are employees of Teacher Service Commission, but they are just doing services in a private entity. Yeah.
Okay.
It used to happen in the past, but currently, no.
Okay.
The private institutions have their own teachers. What the common denominator here is that they are registered by Teacher Service Commission, but the employer is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we come back to the award, or rather the CBA agreement that comes with this monetary amounts. And I know that it was heavily monetary because previously, like we said before, that we established, we're agreeing to take non-monetary compensation. But this was heavily monetary. There are a number of intern teachers still. What happens to their employment or their, establishment as now fully fledged teachers in this current dispensation? Does the CBA take that into consideration, or are we right now focusing on those who are fully employed teachers and their benefits? I'm not sure what the number of intern teachers is now. Maybe you can also shed some light onto that.
Actually, let me just respond to the last question. I am not aware of the number of teachers who are outside there who have not been engaged. That one I may find out from the register of teachers, from the Teacher Service Commission. That is the number. So I don't know that. But I want to talk about the engagement. Remember last year when we were in industrial action, it was basically to ensure that those teachers who are working as interns were engaged permanently. In fact, that is the reason for which our strike was
Yes.
prolonged.
Yes.
It was basically, we were saying that these are professional teachers, and therefore the term intern is an abuse to the entire process. Now, one thing which we were convinced to accept this anomaly is that while these teachers were not engaged by the Teacher Service Commission or by government, despite the fact that they have been trained and they have taken a lot of resources to be prepared to be teachers, some entities engaging them were paying them as little as maybe 10,000. A graduate teacher being paid as little as 10,000 by a board of management of a school. And therefore, when they were being paid 20,000 by the government, we were convinced that if the period can be shortened, then it is fine. But what I must appreciate, which something which is there, that this current administration has done better than any other administration when it comes to engagement of teachers. Because they said upon their election, that they will employ 116,000 teachers, the deficit which was there. Already, they have employed 76,000 as we talk. That is a very good move in the right direction. They have employed them on permanent and pensionable terms. In fact, as we talk, there are also another 20,000 who are serving as interns. And we know these ones will be transformed to permanent and pensionable by the end of the year.
Okay.
And with a promise that another 20,000 is also being employed.
And this came under this current CBA now that
This was pushed under this current CBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the intern teachers, the thousands that you speak of, will be at place where now they will be PNP by the end of 2025.
They will be by the end of 2025.
Okay.
Yes, and another 20,000 will be injected into the service as intern teachers.
Okay.
So this is a progressive way of mopping out those teachers who have been trained but have not been engaged by government. Yes.
How do you see this will affect teaching across board? One of the things that you talked about previously during the industrial action was the demotivation of teachers. And there was a confusion between, moving from junior school to, senior school and all of that. And that teachers felt demotivated over time. Do you see that this is now at least a step up in the ladder that will allow that demotivation to then become motivation?
To some extent, it will motivate the learners. It reached a time when now even the learners we teach, when they are selected to join, even the ones who have been selected, at their own selection, because they apply to join at their own application. Now, say that they don't want to become teachers. And if you don't have teachers in a country like Kenya, then the society is not there. Because it is from those young teachers where we will get innovation. They will excite the new generation of learners and so on. So this one is going to be definitely a motivation. There's some comment I want to give here, and which is very sad. That even when we don't engage the teachers immediately come out of college, they take time outside. They work in quarries, they work in mijengos, they also work as tea pickers and even sugarcane cutters. When they are finally engaged, they are no longer teachers. That is the sad story about it. And therefore, the government must have a deliberate plan to engage teachers who have been trained. Because if they stay longer outside, they acquire certain vices which are not good for teaching, for example.
I hear you.
Yeah. So that's the sad story. And therefore, I am very glad that the model that the government chose, which we really fought against, this engaging of intern, is not a very bad idea. If it can generate the process of mopping out all those who have been trained to be to belong to the fold of teaching. It would be a perfect way of motivating teachers, and even those people who are aspiring to be teachers, to take teaching a career
in the future. It's a good step in the right direction. Let's see how things go over time. The Secretary General of the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers is Akelo Misori. He's been our guest this hour. Thank you so much for being here. And until we talk again, Asante.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Conversations continue. It's 8 a.m.
This is the Situation Room.